story I'm sure our viewers have been waiting patiently all weekend for us to cover. A staffer for Democratic Senator Ben Cardin was fired over the weekend after it came to light that he had allegedly filmed himself having sex in a Senate committee room. Now, we will not show the video for obvious reasons. Sorry to even put this graphic up there, but the footage of the former Cardin legislative aide was widely distributed online. The staffer had reportedly come under fire less than a week earlier for apparently yelling "Free Palestine" at Republican Jewish Congressman Max Miller, though he has denied, the suspect has denied that aspect of it. Cardin's office was cagey with a response following the revelation, simply stating that the staffer had been fired and that it was a personal matter that they would not be expanding upon. The staffer in question appeared to deny being in the video at all in a LinkedIn post, and The Hill has not confirmed anything about his identity.
In worse news for Senator Cardin, a group chat for gay men in politics anonymously told me that the committee room where the porn video was filmed was reserved using Senator Ben Cardin's name. Some online pointed out the seeming hypocrisy on Senator Cardin not condemning his staffer's behavior more forcefully, given statements he had made referring to the Capitol as a sacred space. Take a listen.
January the 6th, like December the 7th and September the 11th, is a date which will live in infamy. I refer to U.S. Capitol as sacred space because it's so much more than a building where the Senate and the House of Representatives meet and conduct business. It is the embodiment of our ideals, our aspirations, and hope, not just to Americans, but also to all of humanity.
Yeah, look, I think it's fair to call out Democrats like Senator Cardin for some hypocrisy here, for treating the Capitol building like some kind of sacred space, some kind of church in terms of January 6th, and then to have it be treated this obviously inappropriate way by an individual. What was wrong with the January 6th riots is that it's not appropriate for people to smash windows and mess up people's desks and fight with cops. That's not acceptable behavior, regardless of who's doing it. Similarly, this is obviously not. It's a workplace. It's not that the sanctity of the building was violated. That it's like some holy This is where they come and take and confiscate all our money and spy on us and make war. It's not a building where good things happen. So I don't care about it's not a church. That doesn't matter. But it's obviously inappropriate for someone in any workplace. If this was our workplace, if this was a McDonald's, it would be inappropriate. It doesn't matter. It's just you can't do this, and obviously this person needs to be fired.
Yeah, I agree that it doesn't have so much to do with the government building. I think what troubles me about his particular position, though, is the fact that his salary is taxpayer funded.
Yeah.
He has access to these spaces because of his taxpayer funded job, and he is abusing them, of course, and apparently abusing the reservation system as well. Apparently there are two ways that you can reserve these hearing rooms. One is via an online system that the Rules Committee that every Senate office has access to. And then you can also directly book with whatever committee has jurisdiction over that room. So he probably did it during this online system. I'm trying to confirm that he did book it under Senator Cardin's name, but obviously an abuse of this access that he had to the space where former FBI Director James Comey testified at one point. They confirmed multiple Supreme Court justices there. And you have this young man, unfortunately, defiling poor Amy Klobuchar's desk in this video. I mean, his LinkedIn statement was so bizarre, by the way. He goes on and he sort of tacitly admits that it's him, but not outright. But then he goes on to say that he's being attacked for who he loves, implying that this is a homophobic thing, and then saying that he would never disrespect his workplace, which fundamentally that is what he did with his behavior.
Yeah. It's the evidence compiled by other news outlets that it is, in fact, this person seems pretty overwhelming to me. I'm not going to specifically say his name for legal reasons, but it seems like they've identified the correct person to me. Further, so regardless of the circumstances of the video being obtained or leaked, the underlying, you can't have sex in someone's in the workplace. That's prohibited very directly by sexual harassment policies. That would not be acceptable in the private sector. It's forbidden. Correct. So it should be the same standard here. So that's neither here nor there. That's not even up for debate. I do I don't take any. I think it's it can be very cruel to leak the revenge porn kind of stuff, nude images and videos of people without their permission and all that. I think it is very bad, and even in some cases should be criminalized, or there should be harsher penalties about it on social media. It seems to be the case here. What has been reported is that this was posted in some kind.
Let's dig into that a little bit more. Okay, so this specific video was shared in a group chat for gay men in politics. So my understanding is that there are dozens of people in it. By all intents and purposes, this was basically public.
And it was shared consensually?
Yes.
It was, so
he
with
shared
his
it.
not, he
shared
it.
it. Now, in addition to that, though, he also had a burner Twitter account using a fake name that was similar to his real name, in which he routinely posted pornographic material with his face in it. So, like daily tweets of nude selfies, nude videos, videos of him having sex with his boyfriend, who was supposedly the other person in this video taken in the Hart Senate building. And there were actual photos and videos on that account as well that were also allegedly taken in a government building. So, for example, there's one nude selfie that he took, and the caption on it was, "Snuck this in the work bathroom." And then people also were able to dig up some prior material that he actually took before he started working for Senator Cardin. So it's pretty astounding that they didn't find this during a basic background check before they hired this young man, where he asked Lindsey Graham to meet him in the showers while nude, and also asked Joe Biden to spit in his mouth in one of the captions. Maybe there are some questions to be asked about the screening process for Senate staffers as well.
I mean, I'm a libertarian, so people go out, live your best life, doesn't matter to me. I don't care what you do consensually with other people. I don't care what videos you take of yourself and other people. You can't do it in a public place, in a public workspace. That's just obviously not acceptable. Also, those comments you just mentioned seem not also professional.
Yeah, if you're trying to work in politics, maybe you don't post those on your public Twitter account.
Yeah, maybe keep that thought to yourself. But I don't care. I'm not for shaming people at all, but you just can't do this in a public workplace. It'd be insane to and I don't see anyone saying the otherwise, frankly. Have you encountered any defense of?
There were a couple of people. There was one sort of left-wing reporter who was complaining that allegedly the only reason this video got out was because he was the same fellow who was accused of shouting "Free Palestine" at Max Miller. So they're claiming it's an op from Max Miller's office. But apparently this has been brewing in
But even if that was the case, they didn't make up. I mean, he did something.
Right. It doesn't make up for the fact that he did something obviously reprehensible.
Right. I said the same thing about the Claudine, very different issue, the Claudine Gay, Harvard president, the plagiarism thing. When Brianna and I have argued about this, she'll say, well, it's only getting brought up because conservatives are mad at her for the things she said. And I'm like, well, that may be true, but if the underlying accusation is accurate, then what are you supposed to do with that? You can't ignore it just because the person has some agenda you don't like.
Yeah, I think that's right. And then there was another article by NBC News that snuck in the fact that conservative outlets were reporting it as if to signal to their readers that you shouldn't pay attention to this or you should be opposed to it because it was first reported by conservative media, which is a common tactic.
If a Republican staffer was having sex in Congress, it would be a
bigger scandal. I think.
Honestly, if anyone, it doesn't have to be just sex in the public space in the building is going to be reported on and should and needs to be dealt with because that's not acceptable.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's enough speculation that half of Republican senators are gay from the left anyway, so I'm sure that they wouldn't even need to be doing it in government buildings for that to be some huge scandal.
Well, I will just share my thought. Before I had one statement that I made on this issue on Twitter. Can we put it up on the screen, please? I am outraged by this vile, disgusting act committed in the U.S. Senate last week. A moral transgression, a shock to all decent Americans. I'm speaking, of course, about the extension of warrantless FISA surveillance.
Good for you, Robbie.
That's what truly outrages
I like
me.
that.
So, okay, thank you for covering that with me. Thank you for doing so much reporting, really getting to the bottom of this. More Rising right after this.